All right, so this is day 3 of the daily YouTube videos. And today, how these usually go is that I go through some of the questions that I'm getting, right? In the comments, in the DMs, and picking some of the most common ones and also like the ones that I think you would get the most value watching as someone watching this, right? So today is about motivation. Now, I get a lot of questions about, how do you stay motivated when, you're playing baseball, right? And like you got to train, and a lot of the time, if you suck, like it's a grind, right? And I totally get it. Like when I was 16, 17, really trying to get good, going from that threshold of sucking, throwing, below 80 to getting to 90 plus, it was an absolute grind, right? You show up every single day. Obviously you got to throw, you got to lift, but then you got to go to school as well. And then you got to eat as well. Eating was even worse than training. And so it's like, how do you keep up that motivation? And how do you stay consistent, right? Because you can do this stuff for a couple of days, but if you're not able to do it consistently, then it doesn't matter, right? Because consistency is the number one thing that's going to help you get to the next level. And so that's what I want to answer today. And with motivation, right? The hard thing about motivation is that the best players and the most consistent players, they're not driven by motivation. A lot of the time it's driven by a very, very strong why or a deep, deep fear that they have. And I'll explain. So the first one is easy, okay? It's like the why, right? The why might be, I played with a lot of Dominicans, right? And a lot of them, the why was, okay, I want to retire my whole family. I'm going to make it to the big leagues, make a lot of money, and completely shift my living situation and also my family's situation, right? That was like a strong why of a lot of the guys that I played with. Now, for me, the why was, okay, actually I was more in the other one, more of like a deep, deep fear. But a big why was, okay, like, I know I'm meant for like greater things, right? I know that my career is not supposed to end in high school. Like I'm supposed to go to college and play professionally and everything else. And so there was a big why, right? A lot of my why also came from it being a childhood dream. Like, okay, this is my childhood dream and I want to keep going toward it, right? I wanted to, be that guy. I grew up in Australia, be that guy who went to professional baseball. And, there was a lot of reasons, but there's a big why, right? And that's something that you can really think about on the days that it becomes hard. Because it's really difficult to show up day in, day out, keep putting in the work if you don't really have a why. It's like, why do I do this? Well, yeah, I don't really know. So it's like, why even bother? And then you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to take a day off. And then it cycles, right? Now, the even stronger driver. So the camera cut out, but what I was getting at was there's something stronger than a big why. And what that is something to run away from. Like a crippling fear or insecurity that you're running away from. Okay, and I'll give you an example with the Dominicans, right? I had many good friends when I was in professional baseball, and I'll talk to a lot of them. And a common fear that they all had was that if they don't make the big leagues, then their chance to have a great life is gone. Their chance to transform their families' lives are gone. Because what's the alternative? They don't play, they go back and, work a normal job like everyone else. Like, that's just something that drives them more than anything else, right? They're like, dude, there is no plan B. Like, it's either make the big leagues or they don't even know what to do, right? If they don't make the big leagues. And so at that point, there's no motivation. It's like you're running on adrenaline, almost. It just becomes a mission, right, for your life to accomplish that. And every day you wake up, you're thinking about it. You're doing everything to maximize the chance of being able to do that, right? There is no motivation. It's not, I don't feel like doing this today. It's like, no, bro, if I don't do this, then it's going to put me behind, and that's going to take me away from my goal, and it's going to bring me closer to the fear that is trying to chase me down. So no, I'm going to go do it. Right? There are 3 common characteristics for the most successful people in the world. Now, the first one is to have big, big dreams and knowing that you're capable of more. Right? That's something that we've talked about. Is like just knowing that you're someone who's capable and able to do big things in life. Get to the next level, whatever. Now, the second one is having crippling insecurities or fears. Something to run away from, like we just talked about. To give you another example for myself, I have a crippling fear of not being good enough, of being a failure. Right? That scares me more than anything else. To look back at my life and be like, yeah, bro, I just wasn't good enough. I failed. That's not something that I want to do when I'm old. I want to look back at my life. I want to look back and be like, yeah, I worked hard toward my goals. I was able to achieve them. That was a great life. Not look back and be like, I was a failure. That scares me more than anything. And so that's something that I run away from every single day. Right? In everything I do, honestly, with my training to throw 100 miles an hour, it's to go play professional baseball again. Because I never played at the highest level, right? And it feels like unfinished business. And to be honest, I feel like a failure every single day in terms of baseball. Because I never made the big leagues. And that's why I keep pushing. There is no motivation. It's this deep-rooted fear and like a tiny voice in your head telling you, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to be better. You got to be better. Every single day I wake up, and this might be messed up, but I go in the shower and the first thought that comes into my head every single day is, you got to be better. You have to be better. And yes, it can be unhealthy. Like for me right now, I'm never going to think that I'm good enough, right? But that's a driver. Obviously, down the line, there's something that I might want to work on, right? To have a little bit more peace in my life. But for right now, it's a huge driver of, hey, it's not good enough, push harder. Hey, not good enough, push harder. For example, the company that I'm building, the Pitch Lab, I believe it can be the #1 baseball development company in the world, right? Pitching development company in the world. And I don't wake up excited to do a lot of this stuff, right? But there's a big why, which is to build the #1 pitching development company in the world. And there's a strong thing that I'm running away from is that I don't want to fail at creating the #1 pitching company in the world. Right? Now, I know I talked about 3 characteristics of the most successful people in the world. Now, the third one is discipline. Okay? So, You have something that you're running toward, right? A big goal. You have something terrifying behind you that you're running away from. Now you have discipline, which keeps you on that path. Now, discipline is something that does require a little bit of willpower and motivation, right? But again, discipline becomes so easy if there is no other choice. If you have a big goal in front of you, you have something to run away from, right? Then you're going to do the stuff that's required. Discipline becomes very, very easy. Because again, what's the alternative? You don't do something and then you feel terrible about yourself at the end of the day, like, damn, I made no progress toward my goals today. And I became one step closer to what I fear, which is a failure. Well, that's how I feel. You know, I might be messed up, but every day that I don't do what I'm supposed to do, it's like, damn, that's a wasted day. Because I didn't get closer to my goals, I got closer to being a failure. And just feeling that once and feeling that disappointment, even once, is going to make sure that you put in the work in the future. Right? Once you feel that disappointment in yourself, the humiliation, you're not going to want to feel that again because it's terrible. And so you're going to put in the work. And so to wrap up, if you need motivation to do stuff, then you need two things. You need a big, big, strong why and a goal to run toward, and you need something to be terrified of. Now, if that's not something that you can find, if you can't find either of them, then you're fighting a steep, steep uphill battle. Because willpower and motivation alone isn't going to help you push when things get really, really tough. Okay, because it's going to get really tough in baseball. So you need something deeper to be pushing you rather than just rely on motivation. Hope it helps. I'll see you tomorrow.